Hello, 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 hello. Hi guys. How's it going? How are we feeling? Um,
Is it just me so far?
oh,
Woo! Hello.
hello, hello.
I love your sparklies.
Thank you. I'm ready to take on the world
And
today. Let's get it.
and you're dewy too. You have sparklies and you have dewiness.
Dewy. You know what? People are like all about the dewy like products, and I'm just like, no, I think I have enough dew already. So maybe it's just the light, or maybe I'm just oily. We
I
can
think
call
you
it.
I think you have good skin. I'm gonna call it amazing skin.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Tell me how your project went while we're getting people in. You had a
I,
few weeks, right?
yeah, I was really happy about it. I thought it was really fun, which was I think the best part about it. It was super, super
Hey!
fun. I looked at some of the images and I really love some of them and I'm trying to figure out like okay, what is this going to be? Like I feel like
Why?
it's still a little,
Why
but
are
it
we
was
trying to figure out what it's gonna be? Let's just let it
let
unfold.
it be. Yeah, I think I just kind of have to let it be what I got. Well, I got some cool like motion blur stuff.
Ooh, show
Definitely
us.
some movement. I'll show you one, but
They're not they're not edited and ready yet.
I feel like a baby about it. Like I'm scared.
Oh, it's just us.
I know. So, but it was really fun. And then I just freaked out when the husband wanted to like join in. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't ready for you.
Wait, this was for your project when he wanted to join in? This
Hmm.
was a shoot. Oh, okay. Because for some reason I thought that post that you were saying it was about that was a shoot that was like a paid shoot.
No, well, there were two different things. One was, yeah, I was doing the pregnant mama, and she had really said, because I was like, I'm really going to focus on you. I'm not going to really have the couple, but if you want a few shots of that, I'm okay with it. So
Hmm.
she's like, oh yeah, he's not into it anyway. So I really came prepped just for her. Like I was like, I'm just focused on you, and I'm doing all this stuff. And then he went and like changed his clothes and like came. I was like, hi. So
He saw the magic. He wanted to be part of it.
I know. And so I realized I was like, you just gotta like just relax, And I remember like I was thinking this is a really dumb analogy, but when I first started learning to knit, which is hilarious, but I would go to this knitting class and I would hold it so tight and like stretch. And I was like, you gotta just like chill. And so that's for my next one. I'm like, I just chill, like just go with the flow.
I love that. That's actually like a super great post. You should make a post about that, about how you're knitting, you like how you used to hold so tight to your knitting and that once you let go of control, it was so much better. And that can be like a really great analogy, not only for you as a photographer, but also for your clients, because they need to let go, right? And just enjoy and let it be and be present and enjoy the process.
And you can see it in the final product, like with the sweater analogy, which is such a like lame
Oh,
analogy,
yeah.
but it's either
Not
all
lame.
it's stretched and weird or it gets really, really
Oh.
tight. Like it gets like so like you're like, I knit a scarf and it's like this big.
Mhm.
Or you knit this thing that's just like this weird, has no shape. And so you want the right amount of tension, essentially. That's the analogy.
Okay, but that is like actually so golden because that's what we all need in our work, in your process as a photographer and in your actual photos. Like the right amount of tension is what gives a photo energy and life. This is brilliant, Liz. I'm gonna steal this. I'm just kidding. But I think it's actually perfect for you because I feel like your ideal people will be like, yes, I'm so here for a knitting analogy. Like you're like the perfect um like cool new grandma vibe, like cottage core, but like Ojai style. So I think you should share about that, and you could just start in your stories if you don't know where to start with like a post. But I think that's actually a perfect way to like start kind of calling. It's a good calling card for like your ideal people, I think.
Yay. But yeah, I'm glad
You just
I'm
thought you were talking, but I'm like, turn that into a post.
yes, totally. No, and I need to do more of it. In fact, I do get stuck a lot on posting and like I just don't know. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. And you guys, you can, even if you ever feel like stuck on posting and things, it you can actually turn on these recordings and like listen to them back, listen to your voice and what you say, because every time you guys talk, I'm like, turn that into a post, turn that into an offer, turn that into an everything. Because it's like so often we think that our businesses are so separate from us and that we need to like somehow morph ourselves into our brand voice or our business or whatever. And it's just so weird because that's not that's not real. It's not you necessarily, but like just you talking to people, you talking to somebody, you talking to a friend about your process or your shoot or your knitting or whatever it is actually the thing that number one feels most authentic and makes the most sense, but number two is going to be like the calling card that really that calls people to you that are going to be perfect to work with. Okay, how's that for a soapbox? 8 minutes in. Yay! Well, I'm so excited to see you all today and to chat with you about everything. So, I'd love to spend like the first few minutes checking in about either your project, your email freebie, your pricing, anything that we've sort of gone through to this point. And if you have individual questions or just like sticking points on any of those, if you want to share images from project shoots, if you have a project shoot that you want to share images from, we'll spend the first few minutes doing that. And then, depending on how you all are feeling, we can move into fresh content about making money right now, making money in the interim of like raising your prices, and everything that you guys were asking last week about, like, okay, maybe I can raise my prices, but how do I make money in the meantime? We can dig into all that content after we have a little check-in, if that feels good. So, if you have a question or want some feedback or just want to be in the hot seat, you can just raise your hand or just unmute yourself. I just love seeing all your faces. It's so delightful.
I'll go, Brooke.
Natasha, I'm so glad to hear
Hello.
from you. What's
So
up?
that was a hot mess, that first one I did. Just again, not gonna lie, the one that I shared. No, it was. I went in, it's a long story how I found this lovely mom and kids that I did. I'm actually reshooting that. But I did not really go in with a plan. No, I'm reshooting it. It's a long story. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm good with it. But
All right.
and it's by choice, not
Okay.
by choice. But
Okay.
I went into
I
it with
don't
no.
think those images were a hot mess, personally.
Well, I
But
did. I wasn't
okay,
thrilled with
that's
them.
fine.
So,
That's
but
fine.
I have to say, I did a session this morning, mother, like Common Chaos, and I went in with a plan and I'm super excited. So I haven't
Yay.
edited any, but I'm very excited. So I
Okay.
just need to have a little more of I'm a planner. So for me to go in with some sort
Yeah.
of in my head helps.
Cool. So what was the plan that you had in your head?
So I actually have photographed this person before. She's 3 boys, so I really identify with her.
Uh-huh.
And so I did know the light in their house. I did a newborn session for them. So that was a little help. I sort of
Yeah,
cheated a little.
that's not
They-
cheating. That's great.
so
Great.
yeah, so I really planned out in my head sort of what I want to do. And some of it worked and some of it didn't, because of course you're dealing with people who sometimes things work and sometimes things don't.
Yeah, of course.
But I really feel like I captured, because my goal is to capture the joy in both the calm and the chaos. So I really feel like I did that, and I did it within the same sort of environment too. I was able to do that. So
Mhm.
I'm really going to have those 2 images that are different. So I'm
Like
excited.
the swipe through sort of
Mhm.
idea and the side by side. Yeah.
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 So
Oh, that's so exciting. Yay.
yeah.
I'm happy for you, Natasha. That's so exciting. Um, and now you know how you want to approach these shoots moving forward. But like I just also want to point out that if you didn't do the first way, you wouldn't have known that you needed to do it the second way. And so no action is wasted, no effort is wasted. Everything is rewarded, and you now just know like exactly what that you want to have more of a plan in your mind about what to do, where to be. So I'm curious if you planned out like specific shots and if that worked for you, or if it was more just like I want to do the calm and the chaos in this general area of their house that I know.
So I kind of worked through sort of prompts in my head that I was going to use
Cool.
with them. And a little bit of like placement of kids and that sort of thing. But again, we were dealing with 3 boys that ranged from 5 to 6 months. So
Yay.
that didn't work, which was good, but
Yeah.
at least I had a plan going in
Uh-huh.
and the prompts and the games we played and all of that. So that was super
Yay.
helpful.
Well, I'm so excited, and I'm excited to see the results after you edit. And do you have more scheduled right now, or
I do. I have one scheduled Saturday, but it's supposed to snow in DC, so I'm not really sure that's going to happen,
Yeah.
but that's okay. But I have a total of 4 scheduled. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you been sharing like behind the scenes stuff of?
I did not do that today, but I'm planning on doing some of that later.
Cool.
But today I just really wanted to concentrate.
No, that's fine. I'm
On
not
the
saying you need to do it today. I'm just saying that there's multiple facets to this project that can be leveraged for your business growth in DC. Like that you
Okay.
want, because you're shooting all these moms and families in DC, whereas like that's your goal. You want to really
Yes.
build that market. And so I would use all of these for that and have if I were you, I would actually ask all 4 of those moms to save their photos and wait till one particular day after the last shoot to share them so that they all share on the same day. And then
That's
if
a
you
good
have
idea.
overlapping circles of friends and things, then people are like, "Oh my gosh, she's everywhere. Who is this photographer? I have to check her out."
Okay. Great idea.
That's what I
Love
would
that.
do. Okay.
Awesome.
Keep us posted.
I
Exciting.
will.
Okay, Michelle is saying looking at a gallery from the retreat, having a hard time picking out the best ones. Cool. Okay, and then we can talk about your project for a moment. Nice. I will share the screen. Cool. Yay. Okay, so what are your sort of inclinations, Michelle, as to like the best ones? Do you feel like you have sort of similar ones that you're like having a hard time choosing between, or you're just like, I look at all these and I like them all and I don't really know which are the strongest?
Yeah, kind of a little bit of both. Like, I mean, you just kind of passed a few different sections where there were like, a few like of the mom that are all kind of, she's in the same pose, but they might be like slightly different angles, or like the facial expression might be slightly different. And so I think I'm just having a hard time like letting go of some of them and like knowing which one is like the best one out of like the 4 of her laying on the ground or whatever, just
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. So I would look at my eyes always drawn to mom. You guys know this. So if mom does not look great, then I'm just like trash. I've probably trashed so many photos of kids looking awesome because a mom doesn't look great. So I look at an angle like this one, and I feel like this would be one that I would call out because what's closest to the camera is her legs, and then we're flowing back into her body. And if it's intentional, it can work. But we don't, in my opinion, see enough profile or enough like jaw definition for this to feel like the most flattering version of her. And we don't have like kids necessarily carrying any emotion for the photo. So I would probably call that one out, especially when you have this one. Way, way better, way more flattering. We see like her full face. Whereas here, if you are quickly, like in a split second looking at it, you have to sort of decipher like where's her face in relation to him, where's like the side of her face, the hair, all those types of things. I also would personally probably call this one out, honestly, because the toes are awesome, baby is awesome, but just she doesn't look flattered and gorgeous to me. I think that it could be helpful for you to maybe find like a couple images of a mom in any particular session where you're like, okay, she looks so beautiful. And then sort of check everything else against that to see, like, because I think we all have so many faces and so many versions of ourselves, and we all have, you know, preferences of a certain way that we like to look and to be seen. And so when I see like a version of her face that's this version, I just, if I'm her, I don't want to see that version. I want to see this version.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So this one's fire. So good. This one I love as well. I wish her chin was a little stretched out to him more, but that's okay. I love this one. It's great. If you're gonna put these types of things on Instagram or website, I probably would Photoshop out these like window hardware things that are black. Let's see if there's some other ones. So these ones were like her face is tilted all the way back. That's a hard one to make really flattering, especially because we have mixed light on here. It's just like, it can work, but you have to just play until you get the exact right angle and the exact right everything. And so this is more successful than this for sure, but this is the most successful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you know that, or do you feel like you're like, man, I like all of them, or it's just hard to get?
No, I feel like I knew that like some of them weren't working, but I was just having a hard time like figuring out why they weren't working. And so you talking through it has been really helpful to like kind of point out like what about the images isn't working compared to other ones that are better. And so
Okay.
that's been really helpful. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Okay, we will continue to go through a few then. It's like this one I think is awesome, except I wish we just had a little bit more of her face tilted towards us. Because again, we just have to decipher like where, and if you think about, if you're ever not sure why a photo is not working, but you know it's not working, you can divide the image up into not only for composition and like rule of thirds, but also for thinking about it. Because when you're taking a photo, obviously there's so much dimension there because the people are dimensional, and then you have, you know, you have your foreground, you have your subject, you have your background, but what comes out is a flat image. And so if we're just looking at this as a flat piece of real estate, then her cheek and her jaw are taking up so much real estate. And then we have like a tiny eye, tiny nose, tiny mouth, if that makes sense.
I've never thought about
What
that.
I'm talking about, like that. And so that's why I usually have clients cheat out and turn their face towards me so that you can see more of the features on their face rather than like a cheek or a, you know, side of a head or like hair, a head, top of head. That's why I'm always saying those types of things. Yeah, and these types of angles definitely are trickier than like this type of angle, of course. And so that's not to say don't play around with these angles. I'm glad that you did. But again, with this, thinking about this as a flat piece of everything, we have the bench, the couch taking up so much room. If she slid to the edge of the couch, then you would have something a lot more compelling, because right now she's a little bit lost and buried in hair and couch. And of course, like with all of this that I'm telling you, I know you couldn't in the moment always be like, hey, scooch up to the edge of the couch. But just to tell you for like your future shoots, and when you are doing something like this where somebody's on a couch or leaning up against a bed or that kind of thing, I always have them scoot to the edge of whatever that corner might be. Um, and so like this is fine, but this guy, oh my gosh, you got in there and like the yumminess that's all around here. Um, yeah, I do think that being a good caller of your work is a huge and very underrated skill for photographers because without that, we get sort of distracted and lost in like these ones that are sort of almost there, and we might miss a gem like this that's kind of hidden. Let me look at a couple other, I'll scroll through the rest. This is great. I dig this. This. This one isn't as ideal because we have like crazy eyes back here.
Yeah.
But like it's like cull this one out when you have, you know, this one and this one.
Yeah.
Then we also do have a little bit of distortion, like lens distortion happening here, which isn't a bad thing necessarily as long as you're being intentional about it. But was this a 35 millimeter lens?
It was a 50,
Okay.
but it was on my 35 millimeter camera, so I don't know
Yeah.
how it, like changes.
Because like once you get here, that's a lot better. Even though there is still a little bit of distortion there, it's a lot more successful than here because we have a lot of top of head again.
What do you mean when you say like distortion? Just so I know that we're thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so distortion is when the edges, I mean, there's a technical definition, but
Yeah.
I mean the edges of the body or the frame look longer than the middle. And so when it happens most often with a longer lens, or not longer lens, shorter lens, 35 or 50
Okay.
lens. It really shouldn't happen with the 50 depending on that, but just something to be aware of. Mostly it's an issue with when we're really considering flattering people, then you're gonna really want to watch any distortion that's happening. These are all great. Yeah, I challenge you, Michelle, to like, are you, you're still fairly new to shooting film, right? Like, or all
Yeah.
film in the session?
Um,
Because I just wonder if that's a little bit of like maybe calling out a film image is like a little bit harder for you. Like you're like, I shot this on film and it costs money. I don't want to get rid of it.
yeah. I mean, I've been shooting film for a couple of years, so like it's not super recent, but yeah, I mean, I think I am like kind of attached to them because I don't know.
Yeah, well, for whatever reason, we're a little bit attached, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like honestly okay with like letting them go. I just want to make sure that I let go the right ones, you know. But maybe that's just overthinking it. I don't know.
Yeah, so I would recommend trying a couple things. One would be doing like an initial call where you're just like, yes, this is a for sure no. And then coming back a few days later. I mean, you're not going to do this every time for the rest of forever, but I'm saying as you know that you're sort of struggling with a tighter call, then these can be good starting points. So starting out with your initial cull coming back a couple days later or a week later and doing a tighter cull after that. And then whatever images you're going to share or put on a website or a blog or whatever, then you have to articulate why you like those. And again, you're not going to have to do that for the rest of forever, but that will not only clarify which images you like and why, but also clarify your elements and what you want to do moving forward with other family images. Like if you're like, okay, like this one, for example, I could go either way on it. Like because it's hazy and all of that, maybe it's one that you don't share, but he's also looking at you and like he has that, oh my gosh, he's just like one of my favorite dads because he has this amazing presence and like the way that he's looking at you is so special that I could be convinced that this is a photo that needs to be shared despite like the haziness. But that's going to be up to you, and that's going to be like a personal thing, in my opinion. And so also like these window ones, like to me, this one needs to go because his face isn't there. He's not looking at him. He's not looking at you. He's like in between expression.
Yeah.
But I love this one.
Yeah, that one's really fun.
So maybe, the other thing you could do, Michelle, is if you want to have sort of a little poll amongst the 10 of us in the Facebook group or something about like, okay, here's my carousel that I wanted to post on Instagram, and here's like option 2 for a different carousel, or like this image I really like for a website, but I also really like this one. I'm sort of deciding between the two. Here's the things that I like about both images. What do you like? Kind of a thing. As long as you can take all of that with a grain of salt, you know. Like, for example, I've learned that people laying down on grass doesn't really perform that well on Instagram for me. Like, people don't really like it that much. But I love it. So I kind of am like, I don't really care. Sorry, I'm going to keep posting these. But it's just good to know. Like, it's good to know. If I ever have those types of images, it's like, all right, these aren't going to perform very well. People maybe aren't going to like these as much as I do, but I still like them. So I'm glad you did some test shots for your project.
Yeah, I had like a roll of film from Christmas that I needed to use up, and so I just set up a tripod and was just kind of like playing around in my house, and so we'll see like what happens with that. And yeah, I think it would just, well, I did it so that I'd have like information going into the studio one of like what things that I did worked and what didn't.
Yeah, nice.
I want to like experiment more in the studio as well, but
Cool.
just having some information is helpful. And I got a book for Christmas. Let me see if I can grab it really quick. Oh, like all about self-portraits.
Ooh.
So it's been kind of fun to like get some inspiration from that too, but
Nice.
yeah, we'll see. I still need to book a studio, so I need to get on that.
Okay, that's your goal for this week is book the studio. Then you can reverse engineer all the other things from that point.
Yeah,
Yay.
that'll be good. I'm excited.
Yay. Cool.
Thank you for walking me through that. That was really helpful.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad it was helpful. Okay, Liz, you're asking about pricing and slideshow and how it works. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, I was kind of reading your pricing and looking at PickTime and sort of trying to figure out, and I looked through your PickTime a little bit. So I guess I don't understand like the process, and maybe I would have to like see one of your slideshows to get then what they're doing after they look at the slideshow. And then the pricing, I think your top tier of pricing doesn't have any prints, doesn't have any print credit. Does that make sense? And so it's only the 2 lower tiers that have the print credit.
So Yeah, this is the part that's sort of like a mess right now, and I am changing it because originally I made that top package without any print credit because I'm working with a lot of other photographers that just want digital files and they don't want any print credit. And so I was like, I'm not gonna give them something they don't want and like pile stuff in this package if they're just like, listen, I'm a photographer. I don't want no print credit from you. But I'm finding that it's like a little bit unfair to have, print credit for somebody who's not a photographer and the price is the same and I'm not going to deal with the price being different. But I just didn't want photographers to be like, hey, can I take that print credit out and like have it be lower? So I'm probably going to just have the $300 print credit be for everybody who books me for the rest of forever. And fellow photographers can just use it or not. But and it's not like it's a ton of print credit that they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to order like this really expensive album through you or things like that. So they purchased their collection, so you can see. Okay.
Yeah, and it seemed like, so you put like a coupon in PicTime, that's what happens when they get the print credit?
Yep.
I guess, yeah, so it's like a coupon, and then do you have to pay for that in PicTime? Like you pay your cost? Does that make sense? Oh, I think it.
Is Brooke gone?
I think we lost her.
Party.
I thought it was me.
Just kidding.
I'm sure she'll be back.
Yeah. Who are you?
Erica, oh, I was gonna say, Erica, I'm totally amazed at your freebie. It's so beautiful.
Thanks. It was a template.
It's so, when the photos you chose and everything, I just think it flows really nicely. And I was like, oh, if I got this, I would feel like just warm and fuzzy and like everything's handled.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it really is very beautiful. It's, yeah, the pictures you chose are.
I'm back. Okay.
Hello.
Sorry, I don't know. I think my internet, I'm closer to the real internet now, so maybe that's gonna help the actual like Ethernet cable. So this is what it looks like when they see their gallery. And this is the slideshow. So all they have, well, actually this one, this one's kind of a long story because I sent them their slideshow and they're supposed to choose their collection within 24 hours and they didn't. And so I was like, uh-oh, are they not buying anything? And so I reached out to her and she was like, oh, sorry, we have COVID, hang on. So usually the slideshow will be here. So this is the slideshow will be here for the first 24 hours. They play the slideshow and then this is what it looks like for their collection. That's all they.
And the slideshow is all the images. So the slideshow would be the 2,500. And then how do they like pick images out of that, or how does that work?
After they buy their collection, then they have PicTime has their selection. It's taking a really long time to load, guys. Sorry. After they buy their collection, that's when they are able to select. Like if they're doing 20 or 10 images, after they buy them, that's when they choose their choose actually which ones. But we can, if you want to, we can go through the actual setup in PicTime of setting up the full Simple Sales system. But if you watch the Anami Tonkin training within PicTime, I'm putting that in the chat, then she walks you through like how to set up each package. So if that's something that you guys want to walk through during a mastermind call, I'm more than happy to do that, but you can also do it yourself with her guide. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Liz, when it kicked me off, I don't have the image that you sent anymore. So put it in the chat again, please, so I can see it. Erica, same with you. I don't think I have your link for your freebie anymore. I think your outfit formula is genius. Everyone else says they don't get it. Okay. Yeah, simplify it. Do whatever you want to do to make that make sense to people. If they say they don't get it, I would ask them more questions like what's confusing, and so that you can modify it. It's needing to download this whole thing, so wait just a sec. For the slideshow settings, getting it to disappear for 24 hours, yes, that is in slideshow settings. And you can see what you can set the amount of time. I think the biggest thing is just being clear with people up front that on the day that they see their images, they're going to have the slideshow, and that on that day is when they're going to pick their package. Okay, here it is. Now we're going to share the screen that is this. Cute. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. I think actually, and this is something that I want to change on mine, is like just visually making this make more sense. So like having like little squares of a color palette. So like family member 1, solid color, family member 2, solid color 3. Yeah. If you're doing this for your for portfolio building or your project, I would just have them you can walk through this with them via text or phone, and just tell them like, hey, send me what you're wearing, mom, and kids can fall in line with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big math person, so a formula like was really it for me. But my husband's response was, no, that makes no sense. But if women get it, then I guess you're fine. So
oh, your husband was the one saying no sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he said it didn't make sense. Kelly had mentioned that she needs more of a visual. So
yeah. No, I would definitely do more of a visual with it.
Okay.
And you can even pick apart like different.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she followed it to a T. That's great. But
yeah, you could even do it on this image, like mom's dress, dad in solid color 1, baby in solid color 2, kid in solid color 3, print, you know, and like put little just little boxes and markers on this image itself.
Okay.
Let's let it be easy and do that. Start with that. See if that clarifies it for people.
Sure. So I will work on that. Then how do I like launch it? Like, what do you guys use to link it? Because I didn't think I'd finish it this soon, so I wasn't really worried about that. I don't know how to put it out there.
As far as collecting emails and putting it behind an email wall,
Mm-hmm.
do you use anything right now to collect
No.
emails? Okay,
No. So join FlowHub and then
Flowdesk.
Flowdesk. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so anybody who has Flowdesk can help you out with that, but I think it's pretty intuitive.
Okay.
Flowdesk itself. Anybody want to weigh in on that? If you're for sure,
And then I can
doing
just put a
Flowdesk.
pop-up on my website.
Yep. I don't know if Flowdesk has that built in to it. Can anybody speak to that?
They do.
They do have it built in. So yeah, you can just embed whatever is from Flowdesk onto your website. Should be pretty simple.
Sounds good.
Cool. Keep us posted when that's up. And then as soon as you I would actually, Erica, I wonder if you should make yours like your thing what to wear in Hawaii for family photos in Hawaii.
Okay. I was going to specify more once I did a few shoots with like people, like I'm trying to get a North Shore family and like their swimsuits and like bringing their surfboards as accessories. And then I haven't gotten anyone to do like a lei, or I forget the Hawaiian name for like the little flower crown thing, but those are really popular for photos. So I didn't want to specify until I kind of had that content and could swap it out, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you do have that, I would swap out those images that are indoors from the retreat
yeah.
and use those Hawaii ones
Okay.
and make it like a what to wear for family photos in Hawaii and have like one or two more slides to your freebie
Images.
that say
Oh.
that say like swimsuits welcome and have like images of them in their
Yeah, I
swimsuit.
put that under the do's and don'ts, I think, but
You need images for that, and
Yeah.
for it I want it to be like its own
Stand
page.
out.
So as
Yeah.
someone's
Okay.
scrolling through, they see, oh, she
this is
would
okay.
be
Yeah.
cool with us in our swimsuits. We're gonna do that. Like
Mhm.
anything that you really want people to do and be inclined towards, it needs to be blown up in its own section. If you just
Okay.
put it in like a few bullets, people aren't going to be that
For sure.
jazzed on it. So I would do that, and then I would have like you can milk that shoot that you do with the swimsuits and surfboards. Like have the swimsuits be like swimsuits welcome, then have the next one be like surfboards and water equipment. Like find a better way to say that. Water equipment welcome. Water equipment is super cool and we can use it, and like let's tell the story of your family through your activities and whatever.
Yeah. Everyone here is super activity driven and based, and it's really cool to watch. So
Yeah, so if that's you, I mean, that sounds like my worst nightmare. I would never want to be
yeah.
in shoot. So if that is what you want to do, definitely put it out and be like, you know, this is not your typical family shoot, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be activity based. Your family photos do not have to be posed, et cetera, et cetera. Like highlight all the different ways that it's going to be unique.
Okay. Cool.
Excited for you, but I'm really glad that you're just putting it up before you have it completely perfected.
Yeah, I just
It's
need
really great.
It feels good just to check some boxes, even though they're not done. So
Yeah, good for you. And done is better than perfect. You can always change it later. That's how I feel about my what to wear guide. It's definitely not perfect, as you saw, but it's up and people can sign up for it. And I'm collecting their emails and I can email them a better one later. So
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
yeah, of course. Okay, did someone else? Oh, Liz's photo. It's gonna make me download this again. We're not gonna be able to have time for like going through all the goodies about making money in the interim, so we'll save that for next week, it sounds like. So what questions or images do you all want some feedback on, or just anything you want to check in on for the last minutes that we have? Okay, look at this picture that Liz did for her project, guys. Oh my gosh. Liz, this is so fire. Do you love it? I love it. The only thing I would do if you want feedback is bring down the highlights as much as you can. Maybe they're completely blown out, but like I like this light and airy sort of feel to it. But I think you could save a few more of the highlights. And I also want to see it in black and white because you're such a black and white person too. I just want to see it in every form. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have to work on the edit of it, but I was just like looking through. I actually shot them quite a bit brighter than I think I have been. So I think there might, I don't know, but we'll see. I think it's fun. Like, I feel like that's kind of the vibe, right? And then I'm just going to figure out all the details.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to go through and be like, yes, I need, you know, whatever. And I have a ton of that type of image, right? Like I shot, I mean, and that was the thing about just shooting her is I was like, try this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can go through and sort of refine it down a little bit. So I'm excited, but thank you for that feedback. That's really helpful. And I do look at it and I like kind of love it. And then I kind of pick it apart at the same time. And I'm trying not to do that too much and then just kind of let it be.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that's really great. It's a good balance to have. The other thing I want to see you go for, Liz, is trying to shoot a little bit more just darker overall, because all your inspiration images are so they have like sort of one spot of light or one patch of light in the image, but there's a lot of contrast and shadow fall off and things like that. So I think even if you just intentionally underexpose a little bit more, then you might get a little bit more of that vibe just with that little switch. Cool, thanks for sharing. Okay, who else has something they want to share or check in on? If you've already gone, you can go again if we don't have anybody else volunteering. Those of you with your projects that you feel like you aren't moving on them as much as you wanted to, just know that the structure of the project and the idea of the project being January as your 30 days was to get you moving on it and to get you like thinking about it and going on it. And there's like nobody is coming to get you and take you to jail if it goes to February or even March. Just whatever baby steps you can take on it are valid and exactly what needs to happen. So don't worry if it's not happening in the exact time frame of January 30 days. Okay, Natasha, throwing up a link. I love a link. Let's get it. Okay, here we are. So tell us about this shoot.
This was a newborn session, three big brothers. We did most of it in the master bedroom, which also has the crib.
Because that's where the light was, or
that's where the light was. And also they had their massive Christmas tree up in their living space too. So that's
always a fun part of shooting photos in holiday times. You're like, okay, this tree is right in the way of exactly where I need to be. I'm super into this angle. Were there and I'm just wondering if there were maybe a few more opportunities to utilize that space over, say, that
one. Yep.
Because there's just so much in this room. Like you said, you have the crib, you have this sconce, you have window, you have headboard, you have a random other chair that's also there, and you have like so many people that you have to pose. So probably what I would do if this were my shoot is I would get everybody, I love these lying down ones as well. I'd probably throw these pillows off and blankets off personally to get like a cleaner white background. And not, if you're like, I love this texture and I want to keep this texture, that's totally fine and you can fight me on it. But I just find that there's so much energy and joy happening here that these textures and colors compete with that in my view.
I did end up taking them off. I just did. Yeah.
Yep.
That was very spontaneous.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking stuff off of bed to leave it white for like all these yummy purposes that you so beautifully figured out. And maybe if you wanted to leave this one blanket, I like the interest of that blanket. It doesn't always have to be just, white background. But I think the key is going to be being really decisive and clear about where you want to start, especially with the whole family. Because I feel a bit of like, this just feels a little panicked to me. Like, oh my gosh, I have to find a place where all of them can sit and where the light is like sort of nice. So I'm just going to set them on the edge of this bed and like, this is what we have.
Right.
Whereas like, even if you just take a little bit more time to sort of figure out that this other, this scene with this light behind is really nice, then you can get a few more, you can just get the whole family where you want them from the beginning. So I feel like you ended up there. Like, this is really great. All these are really so good, Natasha. I just think a little bit more. Yeah, and this is really nice too. I just think anytime you have a lot in the background, I would look for anywhere that you can go for the whole family that's a little bit cleaner. So I appreciate that you've come to a different spot here. But anytime that we have like a whole family standing up in the house, I'm always like, and smiling. To me, that's always a little bit, for me with my photos, it feels like a dead giveaway that like we're posing at home. Like, it feels a little try hard to me for my own taste. So if this were my shoot, I'd probably pose them on the bed with that angle that I was showing you before. And for the whole family's outside, for a whole family smiling shot, I probably would take them outside if that's at all possible. But maybe it's freezing cold and you don't have that option.
No, it wasn't freezing cold. It was just the Christmas decorations.
On the outside
like,
of their house.
Blow ups, like all the stuff outside their
blow ups. Come on.
Yes. So, but yes.
So I probably would honestly just find like a clear space and just blank background. I would choose a blank background of a house over like, you found, I think, the nicest spot in the house, but it just poses the question to me of like, what's this photo's final destination? Like, is it going on a wall? No, probably not. Like, is it going in an album? I mean, maybe, but like, it's sort of just like, why? Like, everything else you're doing makes so much sense. It's like, yes, we're cuddling on the bed, we're doing this and that. But when we're standing up inside, posing for smiling, it just is like, it's sort of confusing to me.
Okay.
From the authenticity standpoint. I feel like you really shine in these like sibling shots and on the bed. Like, that's clearly your comfort zone and your happy place. And like, you've really done that so beautifully. With these ones of her, I am thinking that we could have done this in a slightly different place. I hesitate to have her sit on the edge of the bed. It's just hard to keep yourself upright and in a flattering way holding a baby sitting on something so soft as a bed. So that's why I tend to have them lie down on a bed. Or if I'm trying to do something just like up close with her, I'll have her stand up near a window. So maybe she could have been like standing either on this wall here or this wall here with this side light coming in, and then you can get like, her holding the baby. Then she can really drop her shoulder if she's standing, and she can also tip towards you a lot easier if she's standing, and you can get, all the baby goodness, as opposed to her sitting, and then you have a few things in the background that are a bit like, they're not, we've got a chair and a sconce and things. And like, that's not gonna, it's still a great photo, but like, let's take it from good to great is what I'm saying.
Awesome. Thank you.
That feel good?
Yeah.
You rocked it out. There's a lot of kids. Lots of kids. Oh my goodness. Yeah. We have time for one more question or check-in, or like, hey, I'm just really stuck and I hate everything right now. Anybody in that camp? Oh, Michelle.
Oh, I already went, but that's how I feel right now. I was just saying I feel that way.
Hate everything right
I don't know.
now? Tell me.
I
Tell
just-
me more.
I posted on the Facebook page. I just feel like I'm in this place right now where all my work feels like blah, and I can't even choose a single photo to post. I'm just like, I'll just like scroll forever and be like, I can't even choose one to post. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what's happening. I think I just need to like, I don't really know what I need to do.
Yeah. 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 Well, I shared with you guys that I was in this space last week in a very hardcore way. And I don't know if you can tell from this situation, but I am out of that space, thankfully. And I think something that really helped me, and it's okay if you're not looking for like a solve or an advice, but just backing up and making friends with it at first, being a little bit curious about like, hey, what's going on? As I would with a friend who was sharing something like, I'm just in a funk and I just feel like all my work is sucky and I'm just bored and whatever it is. It also helps me to know that historically and seasonally, this is the pattern. We're in winter right now, literal winter, and often our creative energies mirror the seasons. And so I hear from and have heard for years from my creative group of friends that winter, we all feel this way. We all feel like, man, everything I do sucks. And it's just like, I don't like it. So it can help to know like, hey, it's winter and I'm not expecting myself to be in bloom in winter because it's snow. It's time to go inward. It's time to rest, whatever it is. And if that's true for you, how can we give ourselves sort of the 1% version of that? If you're like, well, sounds nice. I wish I could rest. I wish I could go inward. I wish I had time or energy, like space in my life to do all of that for myself. But it can also just be like, what's the 1% version of that? And maybe the 1% version of that is that you only do this email list thing. You're not worried about redoing your whole website. Or maybe the 1% version is you take a 1 hour break after dinner every day and just do nothing. Maybe it's that you look at your self-portrait book for however long you want to, you know, like, and that I think that illumination of what the 1% possibility is for you will come up when you're open to just allowing that much and not having it be like, oh, I have to change everything all at once to make this go away and to solve this. It's a little bit preaching to the choir or preaching from the choir. So forgive that, but yes. All right. Anything else with our last 60 seconds, you guys? All right. You all are amazing. We will, next week, we will circle back with how to make money in the interim if you're doing a big price jump. I will come at you with so many ideas and you can take, you know, cherry pick from those. Big hugs to you all. Keep going. Keep doing stuff in the Facebook group. Keep sharing. I love that you all are continuously showing up. That makes all the difference. Big love. Bye. Happy week.